Yeah. What's going on, Handsome Beatdown Brown? My man, Handsome Mandela in the house. What's going on, brother?
Just keeping it incognito, you dig?
I dig indeed, brother. Man, you be coming with them, man. You be coming with them.
I don't know where they
You
come from.
you hit me with this one, and I was like, okay, I wasn't prepared, but we gonna roll with it. But the minute you said it, no truer words were said. So I'm gonna let you take the lead on this one.
All right, no doubt. So we gonna keep this down south right now. Uh y'all know for a fact that at that infamous Source Awards when Andre Benjamin at the time said the South got something to say. And
Yeah.
you look at some of the hook in Juvenile's when he say, you know what it is to make something out of nothing. It's a hot boy. We're not talking about the hot boys right now, but shout out to them. But we're going to keep it a little bit on Andre 3000. Now, what my thought was there's a style that uh southern rap groups or duos have. It's not all of them, but it's three groups in particularly,
The three majors.
three majors that are pillars in this stuff. You feel me? Now, the style basically is you have the one MC who's basically spitting bars, rapidy rap, and then you have the other one who's basically on some player shit, but it's still fire. The only Southern duo that I know of that hasn't done that, that still gets critical acclaim, is Little Brother. And salute to them, shout out to them for sure. One
Hey,
of the
look,
greatest.
the
Facts.
Southern duo that has to tell you that they are Southern duo.
That part.
Yeah.
But like I was saying, so again, you have the dart spitter and you got the player type. Now, again, you got three groups that have followed this blueprint and have been successful with it every single time because they stay in their own lane. Now, first one, of course, Outkast. You got Three Stacks, who's basically an anomaly, who's basically not from here,
At
who's
all.
basically in his own stratosphere. And when he does descend upon us, it's like, oh, you feel me? But in the same vein, you cannot discredit Big Boy because he will still bust your shit on that motherfucking microphone.
Mm-hmm.
Don't sleep. Big Boy is a motherfucking beast. Don't
Absolutely.
sleep. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, at the time, what made me even think of this was how on the Equimini album, when they was like, you got the player and the poet. All right, cool. Yeah, that's exactly it. But they're fire. How they mesh, how they got their own style. You notice how the progression since Southern Playalistic, which classic album, and they
Mm-hmm.
just built the foundation on top of that, going their own path, their own lane. Like Arrow say, hold on tight, we ride bumpy. You feel me? And
Exactly.
kept it going, kept growing, kept elevating, and now it's considered the number one group in the fucking stratosphere of hip hop. You know what I'm saying?
Now bring it back to where you said it matches the pattern of.
Say what?
Said now bring it back to you said it matches the pattern of.
The groups.
Yeah.
Now, the second group, Eightball and MJG. Space age forever. You feel me?
All day.
Because you got Eight Ball who just come with that that player, that Fat Mac flow that just sound like syrup on your grandma's sweet candy yams and shit. You feel me? It's just so syrupy and so ill. Right from straight out of Memphis. You know what I'm saying? You got Outkast from Atlanta, and then you got 8Ball MJG from Memphis, with some Houston in them, but still from Memphis. Come with that flow, that sweet, smooth flow that tastes like that's that corn liquor shit. You feel me? It's smooth, but when it hits you, bam. You dig? Then you got MJG. Highly, highly underrated MC.
Yeah.
Fuck what you thought, fuck what you think. That motherfucker cold as shit on that microphone too. The way he just come up on that shit. For sure.
Yeah, because it was funny because I always call it my hater test. My hater test is the fact of the matter is being at that time how I was the heavy East Coast purist. And basically that's what everything had to be. It was either East Coast or NWA. That's about it. And then Quick too. Quick and 8. But that was basically it. And I started listening to them cats and it was just like, oh, okay. And shout out to Slizzerman. Because Slizzerman was the biggest advocate for him. Like, yo, man, you ain't listening to them? What's wrong with you?
Bruh. Let me tell you something. I honestly did not get hip to them until I started going till college. And honestly, I was in Cleveland when I got hip to them.
Yeah.
And it was like, all right, yeah, these cats is cool. All right, I can rock with it. But then it was like, and I hate to say it, but it was that Puff Daddy album, that track he got with them. I still bump that shit because it's fire. When MJG came on the way it was spin, I was like, oh shit. Like, wait a minute. Rewind that. He said, what? I'm like, oh shit. So then I went back and listened to the album and I was like, damn, I was listening with blinders on my shit. I had earmuffs on. I wasn't hearing what this motherfucker was saying.
Dog, that's how it always goes. It makes you go back on them. And it's just like, oh, okay. Yeah. And that's where, when we were talking about in the previous episode about music being made with staying power, music being made that you can sit with, go back to, you don't just do something that goes away. You can go back and revisit it. That's the funniest thing about it. Jay said he's up there, like, y'all want to hear the old me? Go buy my old album. Like, there you got it right there. The album still exists. It's still rocking. Go get that if you want the old shit. I'm on something else now. And with that being the case, yeah, you know what? I'm with it. I'm with it. Now, you done broke that down with them. Now you said the trifecta.
Last but definitely not least, UGK. You got Bun B. And at first, when they first few albums, especially on Riding Dirty, him with the alliteration flow. Now I done whipped up my Pirelli and some smelly red jelly is dripping out of your belly. Serve him up like a deli, jumped on my cellular telly. What? Wait, what? And then Pimp C.
It's all in the name. It's all in the name.
Bruh. And the thing about it is, Pimp C was so cold, people didn't realize his power and the shit that he did do while he was here. Not just was he cold with spitting them flows, because first off, he did himself say, these ain't hip-hop records, these country rap tunes. You know what I'm saying? He had Jay-Z seek him out. He didn't even want to do Big Pimpin'. He was like, nah, that's gonna fuck the brand up. He didn't even want to do that shit. That's how trill he is. He made up the word. I mean, and not just that with what he was saying, but shit. What people don't know is the brother could sing like a motherfucker too. You feel me?
Yep.
I mean, if you really want to take it back, fly hoes and chains and swanging things. I did not realize that was him singing that shit on the hook.
Dog. Cass just kept talent rolling and just kept wilding with the fact of what they could do and how they made it pop off, man. Just
But
quality.
the lane that they stayed in with the pocket, they stayed in with that shit. You know what I'm saying? I mean, and to think about it, the way they put it too, they might have been the first ones to actually put that warmth in a hip hop record. You know what I'm saying? Being from the South, yo, we want this to sound like us.
Yeah.
UGK might have been the first ones to actually put like the organs and give it that down home warmth feel to it. You know what I'm saying?
What's funny is, and this is no disrespect to how the Ghetto Boys came out, but this goes back to when the Ghetto Boys came out, being from where they are, it sounded like a combination West Coast, East Coast record for the first two albums. Then it was that third album that started sounding especially Southern. And then when they brought out Big Mike and all of the rest of their associates, where it was like, oh, you started hearing that Suave House coming out. Rap a Lot was getting a defined sound. But all before then, it kind of gave off a little bit of G-Funk, a little early G-Funk before it was known as G-Funk. Early G-Funk, it gave off a little bit of Bomb Squad without being so fast. It was still slow. So it was slap music because it was slow Bomb Squad music. You know
Right.
if you get what I
Right.
mean with all the samples like that. But it definitely wasn't South yet. It got to be
And
South on that
We Can't Be Stopped
was that the album? The one with
with Mom Playing Tricks.
no, the album after that. Like
Oh, you talking about Till Death Do Us Part.
Till Death Do Us Part. That's when they was just like, you know what? We gonna sound like us. Cause like I said, it was that Big Mike Having Things came out. You had Gangster Nip came out. They whole collective started coming out. And all of a sudden it's like, nah, we gonna sound like the South. It wasn't like they abandoned all of the stuff that they were doing before, but that album sounded like nothing else they did before. They were still spitting like they were spitting before, but
Oh yeah, no doubt.
sonically, they had that sound, they had that soul in there that you only get from down there.
Oh, indeed.
And like I said, that definitely you saw where Suave House and Swisher House was getting it from when you heard that album come out.
Right.
And it's just like I honestly think that UGK made it safe to do. Ghetto Boys made it safe to be from the South, but UGK being unapologetically South made it safe to be from the South.
Bruh. I mean, and you figure it was on
Make it safe to represent the South. I mean,
yeah, that you figured it was too hard to swallow or hard to swallow when Super Tight was their first two albums, and they kept it how they wanted to keep that shit. Just a little over an hour away in Port Arthur, Texas. You know what I'm saying? Indeed. And I mean, not just that, but Pimp C was a wizard with all types of stuff. I remember it was, I want to say it was another episode of Drink Champs. I think he had Gutty Mob, or at least it was, I know Big Gip was the one who was saying it. He was like, yeah, we was chilling with Pimp C and he showed us how to master our album with a VHS tape. What? He was like, yeah. He said, he know how to master this with a VHS tape. He's like, and you do it this way, ain't nobody gonna know that it's your album. They're gonna think it's a video. Smart as a motherfucker.
dude was on his game, on his craft, and even the fact of the matter is that he had the New South up under his wing waiting with
Yeah.
Boosie and everybody else sitting there. It
Mm-hmm.
was just unfortunately he passed on before he could really lock it down and make it what it was.
Right.
But
Right.
yeah,
Right.
yo man, that you brought up a humdinger there, and I knew we had to go back and revisit that before anything else because it's up there's like, you know what? You got something there with them duos, man. Them
Yeah, I
duos,
mean,
that was the formula, and I don't know if it was intentional or if it was just
right.
how the chips fell.
I think it was organic
Yeah,
because and in the same vein, for the most part, the South stick together when it come to that because of course you figure they was felt they was most underappreciated with shit. But at the same time, the South is still a big region. Like I said, you figure you had Memphis up here, Atlanta over here, and then Houston down here. Dude, that's still at least 12 to 20 hours away from each other driving.
mm-hmm.
And before the age of the internet, you still really didn't know too much about what this person was over here doing and what that person was over there doing. You know what I'm saying? And on top of that, the industry was still basically either in New York or LA. You got
Yeah,
to figure Outkast was basically the start of major hip hop in the South. So,
yeah,
and everybody came out around the same time. So,
because you had what Rap a Lot had what 5 years on them,
mm-hmm,
something like that, and that was the only thing coming from Texas. Then Cass busted, and literally, like I said, yeah, you had Suave House and Swisher House, but Atlanta is what broke the South open.
right,
Like even everything else filtered through Atlanta at first, and then
mm-hmm,
eventually New Orleans got to get on, and then kicked the door off the hinges.
mm-hmm,
But really, just blowing everything up, it was filtering through Atlanta. Like if you was from any part of the South, hell, if you was from the East Coast, you was going back down to Atlanta to get back on at that
right,
point. So
right,
yeah, Cass is what really broke the door open. Like
indeed,
because Ghetto Boys was the association with who they is associated with, and that's why like Underground Kings, UGK being named the Underground Kings was quite true because they were quite underground for a long time before they really broke through. You had to
right,
be ahead for that.
mm-hmm,
You had to know somebody that knew somebody to be like, oh yeah, that's what you messing with.
mm-hmm,
And even they got their big promo going through Atlanta with the Freakniks and everything else, going and pushing back through. Bun B was talking a lot about that a lot. Like, yo, we used to have to slide that way to go and move out.
right,
So that's just wild, man. Is the that movement was nutty, man. And even how Southern music runs through the culture, it's a whole different culture as far as how it runs through the clubs and everything else in order to get to our ears and everything else. It's
mm-hmm,
yeah,
mm-hmm. And I mean, too, you also got to think we're talking about the era where biting was not allowed. Period.
no,
Point blank. Regardless of what region you was from, you still that was an unwritten, unspoken rule in hip hop. You can't bite somebody else's shit, and I think that's what makes it so dope that you got that same format with three different groups and they found their own lane with that shit and was
from three
successful with it.
from three different regions.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, pre-internet. Like I said, before that
Mm-hmm.
homogeny, man. Before everybody's listening to everybody, because let's be honest, everybody had their own sound, and even when their sound was similar, it was naturally similar, but even when their sounds were similar, it was still classic to that area. They didn't do it the same
Right.
whatsoever.
Right.
Because even as far as going away from the South and going back to West Coast artists moving east or whatever, Cube dealing with the Bomb Squad still didn't sound like Public Enemy.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Even with the Bomb
Right.
Squad doing the record, that
Right.
was, it still sounded like a West Coast record. And then
Mm-hmm.
going back and grabbing Sir Jinx and everybody else, then it got right back to being West Coast stuff. When
Mm-hmm.
you would have East Coast artists that would mess with certain West Coast producers, it still sounded like East Coast records. It was, it just was what it was. The internet, I won't say ruined everything because it brought everybody together. You were able to discover stuff quicker and everything else. I just wish people would have held on to, and I blame it on the music industry. I don't blame it on the artists.
It's definitely the
Um,
industry, bro.
it's like, hey, why don't you do something that sounds like this? I didn't, I could have gone my whole life, besides if it was just, I just say a feature or like a friend move, without hearing Fat Joe over any crunk, man. Is, you know what I'm saying? And that's not hating on crunk. That's hating on the fact that, yo, dog, keep it your sound. We realized that the East Coast could still make folks dance. They ain't have to go down south with it. I don't need to necessarily hear, you know what I'm saying, East Coast cats on drill. Let Chicago keep it. Let them ring off with it. If you feature on it, fine.
Yeah, so this is a feature, but yeah, no doubt.
But let them keep it. That was the bomb part. If you get into going back to house versus electro versus versus Detroit techno. Not the European techno, but Detroit techno versus New York club music versus
Mm-hmm.
Florida freestyle. They're all
Mm-hmm.
similar stuff, but they're all different to their regions.
Right.
And it's like, yo, you could do it and keep it a buck, do whatever, and let them run off. But it is what it is. Man, appreciate it. I had a blast with this one. You caught me by surprise
No,
with it. I'm
no
digging it.
doubt. No doubt.
That's how it's supposed to be, though. We're
Indeed.
we are going to be back with more. Like I said, more Left Leg of Goldtron coming up. We'll be back with more Dirty 30 for y'all. 3 p.m.D is always here every week for y'all. And of
Word.
course, more deeper dives. Dialogue Unlimited is going to be coming back after you shot the J. Drews. But shout out to the whole Schwebel Room. Shout out to all of our subscribers. Shout out to our day ones that keep messing with us. Like, share, subscribe. Make sure you sharing it. Make sure you subscribing. Shout out to the new subscribers and stick in with us. We going to keep going and pick up the merch. We love y'all. But we going to get out of here. Peace.
Hey, peace.